Hello everyone! Today we will be looking at UI settings and how it can be beneficial to have some elements in some specific places. This is how my UI looks for all my combat jobs. I will show you how to macro change your UI if you desire so at the end, but without any further ado, let's jump in. Go to the system and select Hud Layout. You have 4 different tabs that you can personalize your UI for different scenarios or specific situations. If you have a mouse, you can click on the element you want to edit, or you can cycle through them here. With the Alt3, you can move this, and with the R3, you can move the element selected. Let's go through all of them. Progress bar. This is your cast bar. For casters and healers, this is a good thing to have it visible, specifically for new players who are still trying to master the art of slide casting and get used with the timings perfectly. I like to have this on the top of my enemy bar, so around here. Target bar. This can be separated in 3 sections. I like to have the HP and the status at 60%. While the progress bar I like to have around 120% or more. It will help you with mechanics. In this game, a lot of mechanics are indicated by the boss cast name, and from there you will know how to position or if you need to mitigate or heal and so on. The annoying part here is to align the HP with the status. The progress, I prefer having it really in the middle of my screen. Next one is focus target. This one will be very useful to have specifically if you're healing or if you need to focus another target while keep an eye on the boss cast bar for mechanics. The main scenario quest, I personally like to remove it. All your quests can be found in your journal. So for me it does not make sense to have one more element to occupy space on my screen. But I see that some people like to have it as a reminder for the next quests. You can remove it by going into specific elements or using triangle. Party lists. Some people like to have it on the top. For DPS mains, that can be very good. It's something that you really don't need to worry about. But as a support main, it's good to have your party close to your central focus. That way you can track how your party is doing. I like mine small but close to the center. The alliance list, again for DPS mains, might not be a concern, but for healers, this can end up saving a whole run. You can rest people from other alliances and help if they are in deep trouble, although it's a big element on your screen, so I like to have it really small and with some sort of transparency. Enemy list. I like to have it close to my party list. Mainly because sometimes it's needed to target a specific ad, and in a pack it can be tricky to identify, so I go by the name. Also, if you play a tank, it's good to keep an eye on the list. That way you can easily track if you hold aggro of all enemies. If it's flashing red, it means that you're on the top of enmity. Parameter bar. I like to keep this one on top of my skills just because I feel it's easier to double check if my mana or health is low. Experience bar will depend on how often you keep track of your leveling. During the start of the game will be very useful. Later on, if you wish, you can even remove it. I personally don't see much value on it. Status info. This is an important one to keep track of. The enhancements means the buffs, the good things applied by you or your party. The enfeeblements is the debuffs, the bad things apply on you by mechanics or the boss. Those you want to have where you can see at all times. The buffs are important to keep track of so you can align your burst damage windows with your party. The debuffs are important because there you will be able to know if you need to play some specific mechanic and where to go because of it. Others will be just general buffs like FC buffs, food, and etc. Minimap is undeniably useful in this game and helps you locate yourself in the fight as well. Some bosses will have specific mechanics that will help to follow by the map sometimes. Notice and main menu are just pop-ups. that comes to notify you if you have a friend invitation, party invitation, or commendations or loot. Duty list. This one you can have the way you prefer. To make my UI cleaner, I keep only one at a time, really small at the top. Server info will show the times, server time, or your local time, or the Eorzea time, plus the world you are in if you wish to travel, to shop for example. Well, it's always good to keep track of your guild, but I don't necessarily need it to be full blast on my screen. Same goes for the inventory. Action help and item help is there to show you what each item or action does. So keep in mind that if you have them extremely big on your screen, it might come from other windows that you have open. Limit gauge. This is like the ultimate skill, shared by the whole team. Each level of it, 1, 2 or 3, will have a specific action, and that changes depending on your role. I like to have that visible for me so I know if I can use it or should I expect someone to be using it. Healing gauge. This depends on each job you have. You can also have it as a simple mode if you wish. This will help you track some specific skills that you can use depending on your job, so it's good to have at a spot that you can easily find on your screen. New Game Plus guide, honestly, I have no idea why it's there because so far nothing ever showed for me. Maybe it will be there if you decide to do the New Game Plus, which is some sort of replay. I have never done it, so play somewhere it won't bother you if it ever pops up. Okay, let's go for the hotbars now. For controllers, the only ones you will manipulate are the crossbars ones. The main cross hotbar, I like to have it central and small. The other two are the double tap ones. Those ones we talked about on the last video. If you have them showing at all times, you can place them on the sides. Since I don't, I prefer placing them just on top of the other one. Okay, let's fix all of this. It's a bit all over the place, shall we? Duty. Some specific fights and locations in the game will have what they call duty actions. You will need to use in order to activate some skills or place some mechanics. Now, place it somewhere you can easily find and there's no overlap with other elements on your screen. I have 3 tips to give you. One is how to pull the chat box to the limit corner of your screen. That was annoying to me because it was occupying unnecessary space on my screen. All you need to do is activate your virtual mouse by pressing L1 and R3. Then bring your mouse to the top of any of the tabs and press L2, that way you can drag the chat box anywhere you want. The second tip is how to create a top bar display just for specific actions you want to keep track of cooldowns. First, you need to go to hotbar settings and choose a hotbar that is not assigned. Any of them would do. Here I will choose 4. You can also change how it's gonna look like on your screen. After that, make sure the hotbar is not shared. You don't want to share this hotbar across all jobs. You want specific skills for specific jobs to be shown. Now, go to the hotbar you chose and decide what size and design you want. Place on the screen and open your skills. Let's say I want to track the cooldown of Swift Cast, since it's on my double tap. With your virtual mouse, select and drag what you want to the hotbar you like. The rest is all up to you. Last tip. I have 2 UIs, one for my crafters and gatherers and one for my combat jobs. Just because I like to have some specific things on the screen that facilitate and speed up some things for me. You can change your UI with a simple button. First, you need to set up the second UI you want, so I have 2 and 3. After that, you need to create 2 macros. All you need to do is to type Hud Layout 2 or 3 or whatever you choose to use. Assign to your crosshair bar and enjoy. That's it for now. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribe to support. See you around yours, yeah.